That's going to happen, though, isn't it?
It can happen, but I don't want Britain to be a part of it.
This will be music to your ears. I want to get your reaction to this. We've heard for the past few months about countries such as Greece and Spain and Italy being unhappy with Europe, losing their confidence in Europe. A new survey out shows that frustration with Europe is now topping in the French polls. They're more disillusioned than anybody else. Does that surprise you?
Wonderful. It does surprise me. But it's the fact that frustration is one thing, but if you are in a country where all of the political parties are signed up to the European project, take the lead of the Germans, set up a new party that wants to slow down the process of integration or stop it altogether. The time has come for the peoples of Europe to say no to this project that has been created by politicians that has sacrificed the livelihoods of generations of young Europeans. I mean, the unemployment in Greece and Cyprus amongst those under 24 is horrifying, absolutely horrifying. And that is a sacrifice the European elites have made in their desire for ever closer union. And frankly, that is appalling. And it's time for all of your listeners to say no to the European Union, to actually tell the politicians and the political class that no, democracy comes first, and things have gone far too far. It's time to unwind the European Union and stop the damage it's doing, because there are lives at stake here.
We've been watching UKIP with some interest in the past month or two, especially with those council elections recently and the rise of Nigel Farage. Has that surprised you, how quickly this party has become, I suppose I could really call it mainstream now?
It is, and it doesn't surprise me one bit. Back in 2010, lots of people were saying, oh no, I'll hold my nose, I'll vote for David Cameron, he's assured me everything will be better, and we had a cast-iron guarantee, if you remember, on the Lisbon Treaty. Then he got in, and he cozied up with the Liberal Democrats. And we've had foreign aid increase, with immigration is still near on 200,000 a year. We have more powers going to the European Union. We have more money going to the European Union. When he got in, it was 50 million a day. Now it's 53 million. What change? You know, Nigel Farage is completely right when he says you cannot put a cigarette paper between them. And the people are fed up. You go to any pub outside of the metropolitan elites of Westminster and North London, and people are seething. And what we saw on May the 2nd is just the start.
I'm going to ask you a final question. You touched on it a few moments ago. You were mentioning Cyprus and the bailout or bail-in, whichever way you want to look at it. It did get a lot of coverage in the UK, certainly in the mainstream press for 4 or 5 days. Were people in the UK genuinely horrified by the way the European Union and the Troika, the IMF were acting, or were they really playing on I'm speaking really about papers like the Daily Mail and the Express here, were they really just jumping on the anti-Euro bandwagon here?
Oh, it was heartbreaking to see people in the queues outside the banks reduced to tears. And it just showed the cold-heartedness of the European project, that they are willing to raid people's savings, their life savings, just to keep the euro alive for a few months more. And the press reported it. It was all over the television, all over the papers, and it was interpreted in different ways, but the final conclusion and the final analysis was the European Union's gone too far. And there was a sudden change where people with maybe accounts with Santander and so on thinking, well, if they could do that in Cyprus, they could do it in Spain. The EU sets precedents and it acts on them. They don't bluff. And all of a sudden, people are thinking, it's gone far too far. And you're seeing now more calls for the referendum and a great desire among the British public to get us out of the European Union because it's gone too far.
All right. Final word then. Will we have, or will you have a referendum this year, do you reckon?
I hope so. You can never say never. It doesn't look likely with David Cameron as Prime Minister because he is completely committed to the European Union. We need one. I mean, this is the point. We need one. The anger that the British people felt when New Labour said tens of thousands of Eastern European citizens would come when hundreds of thousands came. We fear that again with the influx that we can expect from Bulgaria and Romania. And it's an anger, not of the people seeking a better life, but that we don't control our borders, and the British government is powerless to do it while we're in the EU. I would love a referendum this year, but the point is we need one. We cannot keep on going.
Actually, it's funny, just hearing what you're saying, do you really think that Britons would vote to come out of the... We keep hearing about the referendum, we never really hear about how Britons may vote. Has there been a poll to suggest how they would?
There have been the poll, yes, there's quite regular polling, and their outside is regularly ahead. Not as much as I'd like, but it's the point. We need a debate on this. We need a debate. The thing is, you get a fair amount of don't knows, and that's understandable. But my point is, you have lots of countries that have free trade agreements with the European Union, but are not in the European Union. We are Europe's biggest market. If we left, the Germans would still send us Mercedes, and we would still sell and trade with them. The point is, do we want to be in a political institution whose main goal is ever closer union at any cost? And what you've seen with the European Union, with Cyprus, is the fact that they will go at any length to keep the European project alive. And as I explained not so long ago, we are involved in our own bailout mechanism, $6 billion, to pay for other poorer member states to join the euro. Now, if we have to pay for them to join the euro, they will need bailing out. It's a farce. And it's got to stop. And when these arguments are put out in a national debate, when a referendum is called, I think conclusively the British people will vote to leave as good Europeans.
Tim, I've got a feeling we will be talking again soon. It's a fascinating subject, and it's a very fluid one as well. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
That's Tim Aker from Get Britain Out.